Sleeper Wire, the only fantasy football radio show with more than a dozen multi-time, multi-league, multi-year champions. Listen to the Sleeper Wire show every Friday, 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern on Dash Talk.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Sleeper Wire Show. Yeah, that's right. You know these docile tones. This is your host, Nick Summerall, and I am here with my lovely co-hosts, Hus.
Okay.
And I've got Dirty Mike.
Dirty jobs, Mike. Although I am pretty dirty.
Dirty Mike.
Just
I'm calling you Dirty Mike because I love the movie The Other Guys, and you remind me of Dirty Mike and the Boys.
Oh, there you go.
That was a great movie.
That was a great movie. Thanks for the F Shack. Dirty Mike. All right, guys, this is going to be a fun episode. We've got tons to cover because this is week 13.
Playoffs are
That's
upon
right.
us.
Playoffs are upon us. Most leagues, you guys are just fighting for that last spot to get in. And we are here to help you guys, and we are not going to do this alone. Coming up later in the episode, this is why you got to tune into the whole thing, or you just fast forward, whatever, to the last part of the episode to listen to. Jake Ciely, who comes on with us, talks a little bit about what's trending for this week, some of the hot news items, and maybe some players he likes this week, and some he doesn't. So you guys got to stick around for that. But yeah, as I mentioned, we're just going to preview some things going on this week, things that you guys must be having burning questions about, players you need to know what to do with them, and we're going to help you out throughout this episode. You guys excited?
Of course. It's week 13, man.
Yeah.
I'm kind of sad, though. I'm kind of sad.
Me too. It means football season's almost over, and then we're just in really cold winter and no sports.
Yeah, well, at least my son will be born almost after football.
That is freaking awesome.
That is a highlight for sure.
I can't even believe it. January 25th is his due date, so it'll be right before the Super Bowl. So it'll be an interesting, exciting time. At least I know the Bears won't be. Yeah, at least I know the Bears won't be in the Super Bowl, so it's not like I have to choose between my son or the Super Bowl. I can do that now down the road when the Bears do become a good team, but not this year. Thank goodness.
No, you're still holding on. Yeah,
I'm still safe this year. But we got a ton, guys. So the first thing I want to talk about is, okay, I own him in a couple of leagues. I'm sure maybe you guys do too. Many people out there own this guy, I'm sure, loved him at the beginning of the season. But I'm telling you, this week, I'm benching Kareem Hunt.
Oh, no.
He is on the bench.
No.
That's it. I'm done. I am done saying Kareem Hunt is the best, pick up or drafted guy this year for his value. No. He gave you those first few good weeks. That's about it. He's benched. He's benched for this week at least. It's not a good matchup anyway. Against the Jets, can't do it.
Guys, I just accepted a trade offer for Hunt. Guess what I got for Thielen? I got Hunt, but I also got a piece. Guess what the piece was? I don't think you'll be able to guess. Because even though Kareem Hunt has been bad, the package that I got for Thielen, I'm just still surprised that I got it. I hit guess right away.
I'm going to say, because you're making such a big deal about it. Yeah, that's right. I am going to say DeAndre Hopkins.
No. It wasn't that big of a deal. Top 10 wide receiver.
I knew it had to be wide receiver.
Keenan Allen?
No, it's Jarvis Landry.
Ooh,
Jarvis Landry with the terrible quarterback Jay Cutler. He's coming back, but he makes Jarvis Landry fantasy relevant. And I think he panicked on Hunt. Thielen's obviously great, but Hunt and Jarvis Landry in a PPR?
I'm sorry, I don't know. I think I would have rather had Thielen.
Why? Jarvis Landry's number 8, Thielen's number 4.
Yeah, and Thielen's been killing it, and Kareem Hunt has sucked.
Okay, but it's still Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, I know. It's your love child, okay?
Yes.
I get it. You like
and it's Jarvis
you're
Landry.
obsessed. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, listen.
You wouldn't have. You would trade Hunt and Landry away for Thielen?
Would I?
Yeah.
I don't. First off, I'm very conservative in trades, anyways. So I probably.
You don't think that's a bit much?
Not with what Kareem Hunt's been doing. No, he hasn't been.
Wow.
He hasn't even been an RB2.
He's still a top 5 back
because of 3 weeks of insane production. I'm sorry, but like, look at the actual
numbers. What are
numbers.
your thoughts on his dirty jobs?
I think he made out like a bandit. Honestly,
right?
I thought
so.
I think Jarvis Landry for Thielen is a pretty good. You're losing, but you're not losing bad. I mean, you're right with a bad quarterback. He's still good.
It's not like you got robbed. I'm not saying that, but I don't know. I think that what Thielen's been doing has been great. I mean, the guy has been a beast. I can't wait to try and draft him next year already. That's how excited I am for Adam Thielen.
Look, Jarvis Landry I think you're underrating Jarvis Landry in a PPR.
Maybe I
Jarvis
am.
Landry has been super good, and Thielen has just been, he's got the yardage, but
you know what my problem is? Hus? I hear our other co-host friend, Professor Chris, through you, because you guys are essentially the same person, and you talk about Jarvis Landry like he's the second coming, just the same. So it's like I'm just like, you know what I mean? Like it's like when you fill up on something that too much of something, you know what I mean, isn't good for you. Right? So, like, I'm hearing too much of Jarvis Landry love. And it's not good for me anymore. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
I love it.
I think it's okay to love a top 10 wide receiver myself.
Well, anyway, listen. Kudos to you. I'm not saying you got a bad trade.
He's already surpassed his touchdown.
My concern is Kareem
He's
Hunt.
never had more than 6 touchdowns. He's done that this year.
My concern is Kareem Hunt.
I'm
it
not
has nothing
concerned.
to really do with Jarvis Landry.
I'm not concerned at all. I feel like Kareem Hunt is going to come out this week, and he's got the Jets, and they're going to get it right, and they're going to feed him. He had 11 carries last week.
Ooh.
You know,
wow, 11?
That's bad.
No way.
That's bad. I'm saying that's bad.
That's why they're losing.
Right. They know they have to fix this. They know they were winning games when, he was 17 for 148 and a touchdown, 13 for 81 and 2 touchdowns.
But my point is, though, this isn't the game he's going to get it right, guys. The Jets, regardless, Jets may not be a great team, but they have a great front seven. I don't think he fixes that this game. This isn't the game to fix it. Maybe next week I'll be back on the Kareem Hunt bandwagon, but it ain't this week. I'd rather start Jamal Williams over Kareem Hunt this week.
I would too. I'm not saying. Okay. I'm just saying.
Here, let me.
I wouldn't.
Be like
you're talking
scenario.
like you would drop Hunt pretty much.
No. I am not that crazy. Okay. I'm not saying.
Just saying you benching.
I'm saying benching him. Right. That's all I'm saying here. I mean, I'm not saying.
This has become a Kareem Hunt intervention show.
Exactly. Well, listen, I mean, I think this is a big deal for people. I mean, a lot of people have been waiting.
So what do the people do? Should they do like the other fantasy owner did and traded him away with another nice piece just to get rid of him, unload him?
I don't think. Yeah. Well, first off, a lot of trade deadlines are already up. I mean, I'm surprised you were able to pull off a trade this week.
I'm in a league where
pretty late.
We don't have deadlines. It's as long as there's no collusion or bull, it goes. You can let it go.
Well, a lot of people aren't fortunate enough to be in a league with people like that. So a lot of deadlines are already done.
Got to join.
There you go. I would join. Be cool. But so a lot of people don't have the leisure to trade him away. So my point is, I'll give you an example. Yeah, I'll give you an example. This week, right? I'll give you my 2 teams where I have Kareem Hunt that I'm benching him. And one, it's because I have Melvin Gordon against the Browns, which I think is a great matchup this week, and I have Jamal Williams.
I'm just worried about Aaron Jones vulturing if he plays.
I think he's going to be limited if he even plays at all. I mean, I know he's been limited this week in practice, but I don't think he comes in. I don't think he's going to come in and take the job this week.
No, I don't think he's. I think he's going to be annoying.
Now, next week, if we're hearing Aaron Jones is fully participating, then yes, I'd put Kareem Hunt in over Jamal Williams. But I like Jamal Williams this week better. Now, the other league I have, Kareem Hunt, I have Jordan Howard, who is at home playing against the 49ers. Great matchup. And I also have Joe Mixon, who was on fire last week, who's playing against the Steelers, who just got their asses handed to them by Jamal Williams.
Yeah,
I think they're starting. Yeah, and I think they're starting to realize we need to get Joe Mixon the ball more.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, I think we were talking about this on the last show. I just think he had his best game of the season. I don't really know if you're going to see much more of this from. I mean, they're going to give him the touches. I'm just not a huge fan of Mixon this week.
So would you start Kareem Hunt over Mixon?
I think I would.
I don't think I would.
Okay, why not, Mike?
I just don't like the matchup this week. I think you're right about the Jets. They do have a really tough front seven. I think Mixon has a chance to actually really penetrate that Steelers defense. I think he figured it out last week. I think they might be using him more, utilizing him more. I think especially in a PPR, I like Joe Mixon.
Is he your Dirty Jobs Player of the Week?
Not quite, because he's too good. You got to get a little grimier for the Dirty Jobs Player of the Week.
True. That would have been early season.
That would have been, and I was all over Joe Mixon. Anybody who listened to me preseason, during the season, I've been high on this guy all year, and Dion Lewis too. That was a good one.
Great call.
Hell
Great
yeah.
call.
I just knew it. He's so good. He's so talented, and it's insane to keep him on the bench.
And you know what? I was talking back in the offseason about how the Patriots always have two top 24 backs. They do. They always have it every year. They seem to just figure it out. Maybe it doesn't happen in the beginning of the year, but it always happens. And Rex Burkhead and Dion Lewis, they're top 24 backs for you in PPR leagues for sure.
Who would have thought that wasn't going to be Gillislee?
I know. I was so high on him. I had Gillislee a top. I think I rated him as high as 14 at one point in the offseason.
Yikes. Well, he had 14 weeks.
He did start.
Yeah.
That well though. But they spent money on Burkhead just as much as they spent money on Gillislee. So I mean, Belichick likes his he likes his sneaky guys. I was hoping that Hogan would play for a revenge game, but it's not looking like we're gonna see him. So yeah, but I like Burkhead too again this week. So yeah,
I was gonna ask. Hold on. I wanted to ask you guys, since I'm so glad you brought these guys up. So who's you like Burkhead this week over Lewis?
In the PPR, yes, I like them both though.
Okay,
I
well,
really like both.
you wouldn't throw them both out there though, right? Like Burkhead, Lewis, and in one lineup. Yeah,
I would. It's a flex. One of these guys are flexing for you, and the other one's a RB2.
I understand because they've been productive, but
you got guys flexing two tight ends. So I mean,
not on the same team.
Well, no, obviously not from the same team, but these guys are both getting touches. These are the only two backs on the Patriots that are getting touches. White's basically has no snaps anymore, and Gillislee has been inactive pretty much every game.
I am so shocked at James White going down that fast. I really thought that with the way Dion Lewis was injury-wise, and James White essentially being a similar type of player to Dion Lewis, I figured James White was going to be the most productive fantasy running back for the Patriots this year. I was dead wrong, but I had figured.
He had his place in the season where you started him every week as a good flex for you, and then the writings were definitely on the wall with Dion Lewis and with Rex Burkhead. You just had to read them and not kind of be a knucklehead about it. But it's hard to do that when it is the Patriots. It is Belichick. He's hard to read, but at the same time, he's not that much. When you start to look at it, you could kind of figure out Belichick. You just maybe not right away, but you can figure him out.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, what about you, Mike? Dion Lewis, Rex Burkhead this week? Are you throwing them both out there, or is there one you like more than the other?
I like Dion Lewis. I think Buffalo Bills has a decent enough defense that they can slow down their running attack. I think that kind of eliminates Burkhead out of the situation. So I like Dion Lewis a lot this week.
All right. Well, very interesting. I like Dion Lewis, I think, this week too. But, man, I never like trying to bet on a Patriots running back, though. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Because we're all talking about Lewis and Burkhead, and this week it really is going to be a James White week.
And I just think that's just like a very arbitrary way of thinking. Just like, like it's not that's at this point in the season, the Patriots want to do what we're seeing.
I think that's a
so
Belichick way of thinking. I think you're spot on, Nick. I think you're in that man's head. It'll probably be James White this week, or the Bud Light guy from the stands. He does that sometimes too.
Bud Light here.
Ice cold Bud Light.
Oh God.
That's a great commercial.
Oh man. So all right. So some of these matchups, guys, I want to go over some of the storylines of them. Like for example, let's go to the Panthers. Because, it's Panthers and Saints, huge game here with playoff implications for both teams. Of course, in regular season, it's pretty early, but we know just about who's going to be going where, and these two teams really have a chance to win their division. It almost feels like this game is that game, And so one of the things I want to talk about is Greg Olsen. Greg Olsen looked like he had a setback last Sunday. They're saying he didn't. The foot should be fine, but I don't know. I'm a little skeptical of their reports. What do you think, Hus, about starting Greg Olsen this week?
I wouldn't do it.
No?
No, I couldn't do it. I mean, I'd just be afraid that they would pull him or, I can't. I'm happy that he's back, but those foot injuries, they're so tricky. I couldn't feel good about rolling him out there, especially if I needed to win this week.
What about you, Mike?
I sure hope you listened to us last week and when we said, don't start him, bench him, stash him, grab him. Don't let him hang out on your waiver wires. Grab the guy, but don't play him. And I think I'm saying the same thing this week. After that little setback, I'm nervous. Greg Olsen makes me nervous. I think you have better options that can give you the productivity you're looking for. We're running out of time, folks. We got to win this week. We can't be rolling out Greg Olsen because he might not be rolling out there as the full Greg Olsen that he is.
Yeah,
don't get cute at this time of the year.
Absolutely.
That was what was crazy to me last week is people saying, well, Greg Olsen's back this week. We got to put him out there. And I'm like, what?
No.
Why?
No.
I was like, he's just coming back from injury.
Yes.
I don't understand people who think that a guy coming off of injured reserve, that means he's ready to go. No.
Well, I mean, I will say if I rolled him out in a league that I needed him in because I just had nothing and I just got depleted with injuries, pretty much anybody that was injured, this year I had them on this pretty much team. So, and I was just excited about like, well, somebody's back. I can plug someone in, and it was pretty much a losing season. It was one of those leagues that I'm in that I actually had a losing record in, like 13 leagues. So I made playoffs in like 8 of them.
Was it the Sleeper Wire League?
I think it will. No, I don't think I own. That's one of them. I didn't make it. I did terrible in that league as well.
Are you care to share the record now? Not the Browns.
I'm still the Browns.
You're still the Browns with 1 win.
The Browns still haven't won. The Browns still haven't won one.
Yeah, that's why I said San Francisco. So you upgraded. You're a 49er.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did.
Congratulations.
Would you look at that? I think it was a win over Steve, too. Sorry about that, Steve.
I can't say who's leading that league all cocky anymore because I'm not, so we can just move on.
Oh, you don't want to share who's leading? Because it ain't me, but I had stopped paying attention to that league for like 4 or 5 weeks. And then I realized, I really am not that far behind.
Hey, but guess what, though? You know what we are first place in?
What's that?
Fishbowl League. Scott Fishbowl 7, baby.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. And not to mention, too, in the Sleeper Wire Pro-Am League, our team is second now because of Coast City, whoever. I don't even know the name. Or Co-Tidy, something. I don't know the name of the team. Sorry. I'm not looking.
Dude, I just looked up the Sleeper Wire League, and you know who's leading the league right now is Adam. We cannot let this happen. And then second is Mickey from Dash Radio.
Oh.
That's insane.
Yeah. You must hear that every Thursday.
Right.
Yeah, well, you know what's funny is, though? We have a Dash League.
Right.
He's not even close to doing well.
Oh, okay, so he can't say anything. He's quiet then.
I mean, he you know what's funny is I'm 9 and am I 9-3 or I've shopped now. I don't know. I'm something like that. I'm 9-3. 2 of my losses have been to him. It's the only thing he gets to brag about, really. But that's okay. I'll take being 9-3 and already clinched a spot into the playoffs there in that league, and then worrying about 2 losses to him.
But again, going back to Greg Olsen, I only rolled him out because I was desperate. So if you were desperate, I could see why you would have started him. Other than that, yeah, you should have been listening to I would say us last week, but I was lost in that big ass house. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, yikes! Dropping the F-bomb, whoosh.
Exception, and I did not make the show. I think I made like a sneak appearance, but had Dirty Jobs, Mike, and Max and Lucas holding it down. So
always.
So let's talk about some other games, guys. For starters, I want to talk about this Ravens situation with Alex Collins, who did practice in full. So I'm assuming he should be all right. But we still got Danny Woodhead there. Is there? Do you see Alex Collins slowing down now because of Woodhead's return?
No. They even use him in the passing role. I'm so upset I dropped him in one of the leagues. I hate when I have so good of a team that that I have to drop a guy that I'm speculating on, like Austin Eckler, because my team is so deep and I'm dropping Alex Collins. He's the worst guy on my team. Mm-hmm. But that happens to me all the time. But so I'm feeling really bad that I dropped Alex Collins. He's so good. He's a leading rusher. I think he's the top 15 rusher in the league as far as rushing yards. Just snuck up on you, and I liked him earlier in the season. I'm glad he's finally getting his shot. I wouldn't worry about Danny Woodhead at all. I think he has his passing down role. This is not the San Diego Chargers. This is not the Patriots. This is not those teams. He's going to have a role, but I don't think that we can expect Danny Woodhead like we hoped we would, earlier coming into the season. I don't think we're going to see that guy.
All right. Well, there you go. What about you, Mike?
I do. I think that Danny Woodhead comes back full effect. I think he's just so good and he's so utilizable. I don't even know if that's a word. But you can just use him so much in so many different ways that, I'm surprised he hasn't thrown more touchdowns, even the way he gets involved in a football game. So, but I do really like Collins, too. And I think Collins really deserves a spot on that field because he has earned that role. He is dominated in that backfield. I even kind of like Buck Allen. So, with all that said, it kind of tempers my expectation for all of them because if I'm liking all of them, that means Harbaugh's probably liking all of them. This isn't a good situation. You're not going to feel confident starting too many of these guys because who knows who it's going to be that week? Who knows who's going to be the hot hand or whatever, to me, it's kind of a red flag. I don't really like the Baltimore backfield now.
That's a good point, especially with Buck Allen getting worked in there when we thought Collins would pretty much still have a role. Not have a full role. And now that he's got the calf injury, even the fact that he did return to practice, completely right, Mike. They might just, let's be cautious. Let's mix Buck Allen in. Let's get Woodhead some work. And then now we're looking at a game from Alex Collins that he needs to score in order for us to like the game that we started him in.
Right, absolutely.
So here's another question for you guys. Is Case Keenum a startable quarterback every week?
If you add the word must in front of that, yes. The guy's proving it. He's proving it week in, week out. Yeah, you have to start Case Keenum.
What about you, Hoots?
Yeah, I don't know how you're getting away from him. You probably picked him up because you didn't like your quarterback play. You had a couple guys that just wasn't doing it for you. There's not that many quarterbacks that are on fire right now. You got Phillip Rivers, you got Kirk Cousins, you got Carson Wentz, you got Russell Wilson, Tom Brady. Are you going to trust Ben Roethlisberger on the road now after he just had 2 monster games at home?
No.
Probably not.
No way.
So Jared Goff, he's got Arizona. Are we going to trust him at Arizona? Probably. We like him, but
you're going to start Jared Goff.
Yeah, I don't mind Jared Goff either.
What I'm saying is you're tempering your expectations And the reason Keenum is one of those guys that, he bumps into that upper echelon because there's guys like a Goff that you might have a question about. I'd rather start Case Keenum on an every week basis over Jared Goff or a Ben Roethlisberger or, so Case Keenum is an absolutely startable guy. I love him. He's an MVP candidate. I don't see how you can get away from him. I mean, his schedule, he's got to end his season. He's got Atlanta this week, and they're missing those corners. He's got Carolina, he's got Cincy, and he's got Green Bay. So I mean, none of those games are scary. He can perform against all of those guys. They're all mid-ranked guys.
I still think Carson Wentz ends up with the MVP.
Yeah, and deservingly so. He's a great guy, and I just love that story that I think I watched like a Monday night game or a Sunday night game. He had that story about the kid that passed away that had cancer, and kid had like this little bracelet, and Carson Wentz wears the kid's bracelet. The kid passed away, unfortunately, but he wears the bracelet every game. So that I thought that was a cool story too. I'm rooting for the guy.
All right. Well, hey, all right. So here's somebody who should be elite, who this year has been maybe a bit up and down. I wouldn't say he's had a terrible year, but he's somebody you've looked at and you're going, this is so-and-so? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you look at a guy and you look at the numbers and you're like, oh, yeah, pretty good, but that's what he's been doing? And the person I'm talking about here is LaShawn McCoy. I feel like I look at him. Yeah, I mean, last week, he was all right. And then the week before, he did great, against the Chargers. But that was off really one play when you really look back. So this week, we're looking at him against New England. What do we think of LaShawn McCoy this week?
I like LaShawn McCoy a lot this week against New England. Sign me up. I'm really high on LaShawn McCoy.
Yeah, I'm digging McCoy. I think he popped up a little late on the injury report, so something to keep an eye on. But he did finish practice, so I'm not too worried about him.
Okay. Another guy I'm starting to get mad at. Who's really making me mad?
Who's pissing you off?
Pissing me off, Michael Thomas.
Michael Thomas. Why? Why are you starting that guy?
Why am I starting him?
Yeah,
he's my second round pick.
Sorry. I was thinking Julius Thomas. Yeah, Michael Thomas has been pretty bad. In
PPR, he's been right. I mean, in PPR, he's been, getting the catches, getting the yardage, but it's been an average wide receiver. Like he's been middle of the pack. It's great to see 6 catches, 70 yards, and 8 catches, 80 yards. Great. Where's the touchdowns? Where the other touchdowns? I mean, really? Listen, I'm excited for the team doing well and, whatever, Alvin Kamara coming on, and Mark Ingram finding his stride there, not really being held back by Sean Payton. I'm happy for all that, but, this team isn't the team I remembered them for. Where's Drew Brees throwing the freaking ball all the time? We don't see that anymore.
They don't need to.
Yeah.
They don't need to do it to win.
The defense.
Yeah, their defense is keeping them in the ball games. Kamara and Ingram can run the ball, run that clock down. He doesn't need to throw the ball. That's the thing about the New Orleans that's kind of scary is they can just do that at any time because they still have Drew Brees sitting in that backfield.
Well, I had an argument with our own Professor Chris. I told him Drew Brees is not an elite quarterback by the definition of elite quarterback this year.
No, by far, no.
That's what I've been saying all year.
And he's argued with me that he still is an elite quarterback. I said, but he's not. Look at his numbers.
He is an elite quarterback, but not for fantasy football.
Right, yeah, not for fantasy football and definitely not this year. Maybe, yeah. I mean, over the course of his career, of course. I wasn't arguing that he's not an elite quarterback at all, or he's never been one. I was saying just this year, he's not an elite quarterback.
Nope.
He kept arguing with me, and I was like, come on, settle down. Okay, I don't know what your love here is with Drew Brees. He's not playing for the Colts, so. But the team's just a totally different team, and I don't understand Michael Thomas. I don't understand it. Oh, here was another question I had for you guys. So these are 2 wide receiver 2s right now. I want you to give me and the fans out here an argument about who you'd rather start, because some people may be in a situation like me where they have these two receivers and aren't sure what to do. So the first one is Tyreek Hill. The second one is Cooper Kupp. Who's starting this?
Cooper Kupp.
Mike, you like Cooper Kupp?
I do. I like Cooper Kupp over Tyreek Hill. I just think you're a little bit more confident in his usage. Robert Woods is still out as far as I know. So, yeah, I got to roll with Cooper Kupp. I really like that matchup with the Rams. Yeah, I think he goes off.
You got Cooper Kupp and who?
And Tyreek Hill.
Is it PPR or standard?
PPR.
PPR, I'm going to go with Tyreek Hill here.
Of course, it's a split decision. Why?
Why? I'm sorry. Because Tyreek Hill, I mean, he's still getting targets. I mean, he still had like 11 targets in the past. I know everybody's down on Alex Smith, but
how can you be not down on? How can you not be so down on this offense right now?
I understand all of that, but I mean, it's a couple of games. They look great earlier. People are so flaky, and it's so funny because a guy could have a couple good weeks, and oh my God, he's so great. Let's pick him up, start him, and then a guy could have a couple bad weeks. Oh, drop him right now. But we were just yelling that he was great a couple weeks ago. So it's not like guys can't have a roller coaster of a season. It happens. It does happen. I don't think that – and these are people. We talk crap about these guys all the time. They know. So I think guys like Dak Prescott, Alex Smith, Kareem Hunt, these guys have fire in their belly. They're going to come out and play ball this Sunday. And I don't think that we're going to get these games that everybody's been saying that it's going to happen. Everybody's been writing these guys off. I don't think it's fair to them. I think the whole it's Andy Reid's situation more than the players anyway. But I think Reid's just kind of like, hey, gonna stop being so stubborn, get the ball to my boy Kareem Hunt 30 times, and just get it right. Get it right.
But here's the thing, Hus. I mean, you're right. I mean, look, last couple weeks, it's been longer for Kareem Hunt. First off.
Right. Yeah, he's had a bunch of subpar games.
Yeah, it's been a bunch of subpar games. We came
like 5.
It's been the last month and a half.
Right.
That's a lot. But we're not going to go down that well. Let's stick with Alex Smith though, as you mentioned. Here's the problem. Problem is these matchups shouldn't have been tough for Alex Smith.
No, they shouldn't have been. He had 2 great matchups.
Right, against the Giants. I mean,
but he's got to get right now. It's not like he's got a terrible matchup. He's got the Jets. They don't have good secondary options.
And they're playing like they've got good secondary options, though. They're keeping it tough.
Yeah, it's fair enough. I'm just not willing to throw these guys away. I just think that they're in for a bounce back, and I understand it's week 13. They're not guys.
Is that your only argument, though, for why Tyreek Hill will have a better game than Cooper Kupp?
I mean, he's just getting the targets, and he's good with the ball. The guy, I think that Josh Reynolds is still there, and Sammy Watkins is still there. So, I mean, he's still the third option. I love Cooper Kupp. I love him. But I just think that Tyreek Hill is a top 10 running back, top 10 receiver, and he just hadn't looked that way lately. But I think he's in for a bounce back.
Okay, well, what about Tyreek Hill versus Michael Thomas?
And I do think Michael Thomas has a bounce back as well. So I would probably play Michael Thomas.
So you're telling me.
And I'd play Tyreek Hill right there.
Over Michael Thomas?
Yeah.
Wow.
I just can't
doesn't help you at all.
Receiver.
Doesn't help me at all. Doesn't help me at all. It doesn't help my fans at all. So here's my thing. And maybe this is another person out there's situation. Maybe not, but I can only play 3 receivers. Well, 2 in a flex. And it's a PPR. I've already got Keenan Allen. I ain't benching Keenan Allen.
No.
I got Michael Thomas. And now you're saying, one saying not bench him and another saying bench him. And I got Tyreek Hill and Cooper Kupp. These are 4 receivers that I have. I can't start them all. And I need this win to make it in the playoffs. So what sucks about this week, guys?
Yeah, I'm in a position like that in one of the leagues as well.
This is the toughest week.
It's tough out here. It's tough out here in the streets.
Well, good thing
you know what then? Is in fact real.
I'm gonna have to bring this then to Professor Chris. That's it. He's gonna have to be my tiebreaker.
That's it.
So you guys will have to listen to us on Dash Radio.
Yeah, to find out who the tiebreaker was.
And then Mickey will say the opposit, so it'll be
right. Well, don't take Nikki's in
yeah, I won't. It's professional.
He'd be like, look, can't be considered because you would then throw off the tiebreaker.
I'd be like, Mickey, I'm leaving you out because
or then you got to get DJ Ski.
Oh no, you know what? No, you know what I'll have to do? Mickey's a Raider fan. He's not gonna like Tyreek Hill.
There you go.
He's biased.
Because he's biased.
That'll be it. That's why I won't include him.
There you
Because
go.
I'll say your opinion is too biased. I need somebody who doesn't have a dog in this fight. Is there all right? So let's get back to some real fantasy value. This is just fun topics that maybe is helping you guys out. Probably not, but maybe it. Probably not. But because it sure didn't help me, and if it didn't help me, it ain't helping you. So is there a guy, since you are our resident sleeper guy, is there a guy this week, maybe we haven't mentioned yet, or somebody you'd really like to get the name out there for the fans, that you would actually throw out in your lineup for this week?
For this week,
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go with a guy that I've liked.
He's liked him. All right.
I've liked all earlier in the season, and I've mentioned him on the great debates, and he's got a great matchup this week. So I'm gonna go with Austin Eckler against the Cleveland Browns.
No. What? What is that?
What do you mean?
I have Melvin Gordon, you.
Yeah, but he's got the Browns.
Yeah, but I don't want Austin Eckler to have more points than Melvin Gordon.
Dude, Austin Eckler, his last 5 games, week 7 against Denver, he had 14.4 in a PPR. The next week he stunk. He got 3 points. The week after that he got 26.9. The week after that he's got 13.8. The week after that he got 10. He's getting used. You can't ignore that Eckler is not being used. He is a flex player at this point in the season. He's got Cleveland Browns. If you're in a deep league, you're starting Austin Eckler in the deep league. I'm sorry. He's getting used.
Yep, I agree 100% with that. 100%. Austin Eckler, I think he fits in with that offense better, and it's weird to say it. But because I love Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon still does great, but
He still gets used. He still gets a ton of use.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think Eckler is the better running back for that team.
I hope Eckler goes down.
Oh, geez. That's terrible.
Are you San Francisco?
He's never
49er
coming on the
fan?
show. He's never coming on the show.
I'm just teasing. Oh, man. See, this is what happens when you're into it so deep and you get vindictive. Because here I am wishing injury on a man I've never even met. Could be a really nice guy. I have no idea. I'm just being a dick.
The swell guy.
Yeah.
Fantasy is a fickle monster.
Yeah.
Fickle
It is.
monster.
Well, here's my thing, man. I'm playing against. All right. I'm gonna share with you my lineup. See, this is the Nick show with Hus and Mike to help him with his fantasy advice.
That's
what
what
we're
it's turning into.
That's what it's turning into.
We got the Kareem Hunt, the intervention, slash help Nick show, slash Jake Ciely at the end to help you out with some sleepers.
Hey, at least I haven't talked mainly about the Bears this show either.
This is true.
At least that's
That's true.
something.
You've been kind to us.
Yeah.
That's
So,
rare for a Thursday night.
Right.
Well, don't worry. I have a whole nother 2-hour show I have to go do later. So I mean,
You'll sneak it in.
oh yeah, it'll be in there. I'm playing against a tough matchup this week, and this league, this is one of those leagues, man, where it's just, and I'm sure everybody can relate, where you're like, it's for money, of course, and it's one of those leagues where I get so close to making it in the playoffs, but you know what it is? It's a 10-team league. So it's like only 6 teams make it. I get so close, and then I get robbed. And then what happens is the weeks after, my team ends up with the most points of any of the damn teams, and I would have won the whole freaking thing.
Guys, I'm gonna be real quickly before the game start. Raiders or the Redskins defense.
Raiders
I would go Raiders. I'd have to go Raiders there.
Redskins has Dallas.
Redskins does have Dallas, but I think you're right about like Dak Prescott sitting there hearing people.
Yeah.
I don't think he just lays down and dies like he has.
I don't either. Yeah.
He could. He very well could, Hus, but I think
could,
you're
and
better
you know
off
what?
with
I
Oakland.
really don't. And even as a Dallas fan, I feel really crazy saying this because I'm like, I really like Dak Prescott. I don't want him to do bad.
Yeah,
Even though I hate
me too.
I I hate the Cowboys.
Dude, I was on his coattails last preseason. Like, I was like, oh my God, this guy is dynamic. He's fast. I love Dak Prescott. I hope he does.
Yeah, he's poised. You know, I really wishes he does bounce back this week, but the Dallas Cowboys still lose.
I've seen better.
That's what I hope.
I've seen more poised.
I've seen more poised.
No, listen. As a guy who owns Dak Prescott in one of my leagues, remember, this is the Nick Summerall's help his team show. As a Dak Prescott owner, I hope that when you're listening to this, you will listen and say, Dak Prescott did amazing. He helped my team in particular, and all of yours who own him. And for those of you who are saying, "Oh, we played against Dak Prescott and he did amazing," oh well.
We're sorry.
We're sorry.
We're sorry. Sorry.
We don't have a prophet on the show. Oh, wait.
Oh, man, guys. Is there anybody? Okay, so let's wrap this up before we bring on Jake Ciely because we're running low on time. And we really haven't probably helped anybody. So at least we have these last 15 minutes to help someone. Jake will.
We're sure Jake will.
Yeah, we're sure Jake will. So you guys like Austin Eckler for this week as a sleeper. That's fine. I can back that, joking aside. I think you guys are right.
I like Hunter Henry a lot.
Oh, man, that's such a – you know what you're doing right now, right? Like you're tying your name to something that is so fickle. It could really – like you could be the reason somebody doesn't make the playoffs for making that comment.
Why? He's got the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, but this is Hunter Henry, guy who gets 0 or everything.
He doesn't get 0.
No, you want to look at what he's done this season?
Yeah.
He's gotten zeros.
At the beginning of the season, he had quite a few zeros.
Yeah, he had 0, 15, 0, 9, 13, 14, 11, 3, 1,
3,
4,
1.
And he got Dallins.
Okay, I'm just saying, listen, the zeros and the 3 and the 1, I'm sorry, but those are scary stat lines.
Indeed.
Look, who do you want me to tell you to play?
I'm not. First off,
Julio Jones, guys.
First off, you know what? I don't like Julio Jones matchup this week. I don't like Julio's matchup this week.
No, I don't like him either. No, you know who I do like actually this week? A little bit more than normal. I like Stephon Diggs.
I've liked Stephon Diggs all season.
I like him
with Thielen out there. I see what you're saying, Hus. I like Diggs a lot this week too.
But here was my question though. My question was like, who do you guys not like this week? That normally we show some love, and by not like I mean not like I mean like you have to bench him. We talked about Kareem Hunt, so we can't mention him.
Guys, I don't like.
And I mean, like, again, I don't like. I mean, you're gonna bench him this week. That you normally maybe.
Well, I could say, I really like the opportunity that Garoppolo brings to San Francisco, but at the same time, I don't like him at Chicago for his opening game. I think that's going to be really scary for the guy. I think he's going to get eaten alive. But I think he's worth a grab and stash, especially in dynasty leagues, if you can. He's probably already gone.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say a guy I do not like this week. Gonna say Ajayi. Ajayi's just. I mean, I guess he's probably a no-brainer as well. A lot of people don't like him, but he's got that 3-headed backfield. Frank Gore's another one I'm not really in love with this week.
When has anybody been in love with him?
Well, I mean, he scored last week, so some people might feel like they can start him.
Yeah, and not to mention too. I mean, you mentioned Jay Ajayi. The matchup is not pretty for him either against the Seahawks in Seattle.
Yeah.
I honestly, as much as people probably see the Eagles going there and winning, I think this is a Seattle win.
Yeah, it's tough to win in Seattle.
Yeah,
Carson Wentz or not. If Carson Wentz can win in Seattle, that's your Super Bowl champions.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say we're talking Monday. Eagles 10-2. Boy,
well,
that must be salty, huh? Eagles 10-1.
Come on, man.
Damn.
The
Giants 2-9.
That wasn't necessary. I'm gonna use a big word. That was so superfluous. for our fan. Who was the fan we had on the mailbag yesterday that was using a plethora?
Plethora. I think that was Bear Jew.
What was his name, Mike? You remember?
I think it was the Bear Jew. I'm pretty sure.
The Bear Jew, yeah. So that was totally superfluous for guys that want to use big words.
Did he use plethora right?
He did.
Oh, okay.
He did.
All right. It would have been funnier if he was using it wrong.
Yeah, it would have been though. It would have been.
Oh man. You know what's got to be really heartbreaking for Hus? Is that his Giants have a worse record than the Bears. Who would have saw that coming?
Well, yeah. Guess what? We're actually going to get a quarterback that is worth a goddamn.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure we won't give up several picks, at the very least, to get a quarterback.
Yeah. Congratulations for sucking when it's a year with a lot of quarterbacks. Good for you.
Yeah, awesome.
How hard was that?
Awesome. Awesome. We get the best choice. We get to pick first.
We got the best quarterback in the draft last year.
Remains to be seen.
Does remain to be seen. But hey, listen, I dare you to throw Carson Wentz or Jared Goff or any of these other breakout quarterbacks this year in a system that has John Fox running it.
Right. I think the answer to that earlier question was Deshaun Watson, by the way.
Deshaun Watson, the only reason
even
he was
injured, so good he still does good better than
he's still the best. Yeah, he's like rookie of the year, even injured.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's only because he's got DeAndre Hopkins, Lamar Miller, a stout defense.
Great.
He's fantastic.
He's really good. I'm not going to say he's not, but it's also he has the players around him.
He's like a young Dak Prescott.
But better.
I think he's better than Dak Prescott.
I agree.
All right, guys. This next segment, we have a very special guest for you guys, as I had already let you guys know earlier in the show. This is senior writer and author from Roto Experts. Please welcome Jake Ciely. Jake, thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, of course. Anytime, man.
Hey, Hus, you love when Jake's on, don't you?
Yeah, of course. So, we always have our little mini great debates. Outside. I get you on the Great Debate Show. That'd be really great.
That's a fun show we do, Jake. So yeah, that would be awesome.
We always have our little short segment here. I remember last time we were talking about Ingram and Kamara. That was fun.
And look how they turned out this year, huh?
You couldn't have gone wrong, basically.
I said he was top 10. No.
Yeah.
I couldn't have gone wrong. I couldn't have gone right there.
Well, today we got Jake on because this is week 13. This is it. This is the last, for most leagues, this is the last week to really get into your playoffs. A lot of teams are seeing themselves at 5-7, 5-7 or 6-6, and they have that, possibility to make it in there. Well, that's what we're here to help you guys with, and that's why we brought in our friend Jake to really help you guys out because there's a lot of things going on this week to look forward to. And first, Jake, the question is, who do you like this week? The more than anybody else?
Ooh, more than anybody else. I could tell you. Trying to think. I'd say Josh Reynolds for the Rams because I actually would play him and rank them over Sammy Watkins because guess what? Sammy Watkins is getting Patrick Peterson, so your time of enjoying Sammy Watkins is officially done for at least this week. And I don't understand. So you can couple them both together. As I'm way higher on Josh Reynolds and way lower on Sammy Watkins. I don't understand how anybody thinks that Sammy Watkins is a top 35 wide receiver going against Patrick Peterson this week.
That's definitely true. Now, it's interesting you mentioned Josh Reynolds. I would assume you would have named Cooper Kupp in that. Just are you saying because Josh is going to play the outside where Kupp is more of the slot guy?
Well, I like Kupp more in that game, but for your question, how much I like him a little bit more than most people, but to the biggest difference, it's definitely Josh Reynolds. Look, I'm not telling people out there I'm not trying to start Josh Reynolds if I'm trying to make the playoffs, but it's the same thing as, if you look at with my rankings this week and the sleepers that I threw out there, they're sleepers for a reason. Is because you might be in that situation. Like Randall Cobb, I put him as a sleeper. Jermaine Kearse, I put as a sleeper. So these are people, I hope you don't need them, but if you do, if you have to dig that deep, if you're in a tough spot, this is where you find the upside plays.
Well, I like that you mentioned sleepers. Hus is one of our resident sleeper guys. You know, he always finds those guys that you're like, you've never heard their name before, and Hus is already on him, right?
Yeah, usually we had some fun. I think that was the first time Ciely was on with us. We had our early sleepers, and he had Jamal Williams, and I was big on Hunt. I think Ware still had the job at the time, but yeah, we saw how that turned out. Actually, Hunt's not doing too well now, but
well, if you started with Hunt and then you picked up Williams, you're doing just fine.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
Well, actually, we want to actually ask you about Williams. I mean, you got Aaron Jones in the wing. Are you a little worried about Williams now coming back this week, or is he still going to get that full workload against Tampa Bay?
I actually don't think Aaron Jones even plays this week. But if he did, because we've seen, look, the entire year, the Packers, they're very conservative when it comes to bringing back their players. So we've already seen it already. Ty Montgomery, and then even in the game he comes back, he's limited. So I'm thinking he's on the more unlikely side of the equation than the likely. But to answer the question, if he does come back, of course I'm concerned, because I'm going to go something that I wrote about in the draft profile, what I've said about Jamal Williams, and I'm his biggest supporter, I think. It seems that way.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he's got all the moves. I said, you guys know this. I said it is the Madden button moves.
Right.
He can run between the tackles. He's a decent pass catcher, as we've seen him. He can be a workhorse. The one problem he has coming out of college, and this is what's starting to, had reared its ugly head, is Trent Richardsonitis. He runs back into the offensive lineman, and he doesn't always find the holes. He has slightly started to improve, and he improved last week, but if you watch that game, he still did it a couple times. He still doesn't always see a new lane for him. So if he doesn't fix that problem, you do have to be concerned with Aaron Jones, with how good he looked. I would say if Aaron Jones is playing this week, I still expect Jamal Williams to get the bulk of the workload, like in a 60-70% range. But I do think once Aaron Jones is ready to come back, you do have to be a little bit concerned. Not
to mention, I mean, how fortunate was Jamal Williams pulled off some big plays to get that stat line that he finished with. Right. I mean, without those, yeah, we wouldn't even be mentioning Jamal Williams, really. I mean, we would have said, wow, he had a bad game.
But Aaron Jones is only owned in 29% of leagues out there. That's kind of crazy. So, I mean, I think he's got to be picked up on. I don't think people are talking about him enough. I think he's just quietly got back healthy. I think we weren't expecting him.
I would say, like, if you're a Jamal Williams owner, yeah, you probably should be picking up an Aaron Jones just for the chance if either A, Williams gets hurt, or also what happens if they do start seeing some of the issues Jamal Williams has, as Jake mentioned, running into offensive linemen, and he's not pulling off the big plays. They probably will go back to Aaron Jones at some point.
Well, he did look like the better rusher.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Jake, another question for you. So, I asked you a guy you liked. Who's a guy that maybe you've been loving this season, you're not liking this week?
Well, I gave you Sammy Watkins already, but I wasn't even liking him this season to begin with.
Right.
It was once Robert Woods went down that just worked out very well. I would have to say somebody that I've liked since he came out of college, and I keep wanting and wishing he could get better opportunities. But Jay Ajayi, look, the fact is, if it wasn't for his knee, he would have been drafted earlier. If it wasn't for his knee, he would be doing better. When he went in this trade to the Eagles, I thought, as many people did, this was the after that first game and what he did in the limited action, it was like, all right, they were just easing him in, and now we're turning to Jay Ajayi. And the next week we saw it, and I said at that point, after the second game, I was like, no, we got to get off board because they're obviously not going to go to him. And we saw last week it happened again without the big run and without the touchdown, which he almost got, granted, but he didn't. And we have to say, for what happened, he didn't get it. If he's not getting a touchdown, if he's not getting a big run, you can't tell me anybody should feel comfortable about starting a running back with 9 carries or 9 touches or 7 carries and 9 touches or whatever it is. You just can't feel good about it. That is a true committee with 4 running backs involved. So I don't see how you can trust starting him. And I wish, as a fan, I wish it would clear up. I wish that they'd go away from LeGarrette Blount, stop with Kenyon Barner. But it's not. We can't force their hand.
And Corey Clement as well. He's in there getting touches.
It's everybody.
It's interesting. I really thought after that trade, because at the beginning of the season, I wasn't a Jay supporter. I
loved Ajayi.
I didn't like it when Ryan Tannehill went down. As a Bears fan, I know what Jay Cutler brings to the table. Okay, it's not exciting. I mean, yeah, he'll throw some big bombs, but I just didn't like. I didn't like the situation for Ajayi, and I didn't like the fact that most of his production last year came in 4 games. So I wasn't a big believer, but I did agree. I thought that the Eagles situation would be a great spot for him. I thought it would, with a better offensive line, with a more well-rounded offense. I thought that would be the place. And yeah, I agree. I'm also having a headache watching people who have J.J. and it's like my heart goes out to them.
Yeah,
but okay, so another question for you. A lot of people are looking at the Giants-Raiders matchup ever since now the benching of Eli, and they're trying to figure out, okay, what receiver do I start for the Raiders who has some sleeper potential? Is there anybody out there, Jake, that you feel comfortable throwing out there?
If you have to, I'm going with Seth Roberts. He's been used as the number 3. He's got red zone targets last year, red zone targets this year. Derek Carr's gone to him at times, so I would have to say him. Obviously, Cordero Patterson is the one that could turn 3 catches into 90 yards and a touchdown, but unless you're just going for the big boom or bust home run play in Patterson, I don't see it. If I'm going with the only person that I would trust, and that's a very loose term of trusting anybody in this team, is Seth Roberts. And that's the thing about Derek Carr too, is I've said this basically since halfway through his rookie season. He's a better real life quarterback than he is fantasy wise.
Right.
Indeed.
Right. And what about the Giants side? Anybody that Gino?
I guess that's another one I'm higher on than most people.
Right.
I actually have optimism for Sterling Shepard. If Sterling Shepard is going to get 12 targets and it's still only get 5 of them from Gino, it's still going to be a decent day. He's a wide receiver 3. He's a high-end wide receiver 3 for me.
What about Ingram?
I think that it all depends on the fact that Sterling Shepard's back, and that's why you got to consider Ingram is back into the tight end 1 conversation, because it's very simple with him. Sterling Shepard doesn't play, bench Ingram. If Ingram gets to play with Sterling Shepard, then he has value though. But those are the only 2 I'm interested in. And here's the thing is a lot of people, to the point of the sleepers, is people are looking at Geno Smith and like, oh well, is there a Ricky Seals-Jones thing like where he was playing with him on practice squad? But the problem with Geno is all the people he was practicing with at the beginning of this season, or would have been practicing with recently, are forced into action. So there's not somebody else. It's not like there's a 4th string wide receiver that's going to get some chemistry with Geno. And so I don't think that it's all of a sudden going to be that. But I also think people are crapping on Geno a little bit too much. I know he was miserable with the Jets, but it's been some time. There's been reports that he's changed to some of his development and throwing accuracy. So maybe it's better than people would give it credit for. He can't be as bad as Mitchell Trubisky to start the season.
Oh man, you just hurt. You just
wow.
hurt.
Wait.
I said to start his season. He turned it around of late, but his first 4 games were miserable.
I agree. Mitch Trubisky has not been the number 2 overall pick, but let's face it, he is a rookie, and look at the system he's playing in. I mean, it's a pretty bad system under Dal Logan and John Fox.
Wentz was bad last year.
Wentz and Goff were not great last year. Now look at them. That's it. Trubisky next year, boys. You heard it here first.
Goff still isn't that great. It's just Sean McVay is a warlock.
Right.
Well, that's what I'm hoping we get our own warlock, Jake, in Chicago, and then there you go. That's all I want. I don't need Trubisky to be elite. Eagles offensive coordinator. He's made Wentz look pretty damn good.
If he can make him away, that'd be interesting.
It would. That's been my prediction for the next head coach. I mean, I don't know if it will, but that's if there's a guy out there, he might be interesting.
Ben McAdoo can get the offensive coordinator now.
There you go.
There you go.
I think you could throw a rock down an empty hallway and hit somebody better than John Fox. So.
Well, that's definitely true. So Jake, I want to also ask you about the big news this week. He hasn't played in 3 years. He's coming this weekend. Josh Gordon. What do you think of him for this week?
I'm thinking you're insane if you're trying to make the playoffs and you're going to put him in your lineup. Look, he's boom or bust wide receiver 4. That's where I rank him. Obviously, he's an athletic freak, but let's also – I don't understand why people only want to remember 2013.
Thank you.
Only.
Yeah.
Oh,
let's look back at 2014 when it was kind of a mediocre season. The guy hasn't played a real football game since then. Everybody's like, well, look at that one preseason game where he went off. And like, okay, you know what my counter argument to that is? Ask Terrell Pryor owners how they feel about preseason games. So let's just take a grain of salt with that one. But if I'm trying to make the playoffs, I just don't understand how you can feel good about putting – look, Gordon could surprise us and go off for 150 and 2 touchdowns because he's that amazing of a player. But at the same time, there's a track record here of people that have had this kind of layoff. Actually, I don't know if there's any that's had this long of a layoff and have come back and done anything at least out of the gate. I'm rooting for him, that he, especially because he's turned his life around and everything like that. But at the same time, the most baffling part about it is to see Corey Coleman benched in favor for him, and also Corey Coleman has a lower ownership percentage than Josh Gordon, and this is just baffling to me.
I don't understand that either. Yeah,
those are all people that owned him in 2013.
Mike loves him so
I do.
much.
I'm hooked on Gordon, but I cannot argue with the fact that you do not want this guy if you're looking for the playoffs. I think he's a great stash if you're already sealed the deal, though.
Yes.
Yeah. I suppose.
But it just makes me laugh, the people who are so crazy on Gordon, because Jake's absolutely right. The guy hasn't done anything since 2013, and it's not like, okay, that's all we saw from him is 2013 when he was elite. Okay, we saw the next season what happened after he served his suspension and came back. He didn't do anything. Yeah. He was not elite at all.
Who was throwing the ball then? Wasn't that RG3?
Doesn't matter.
Who's throwing the ball now?
Yeah, he's got Kaiser.
Deshaun Kaiser can at least get it out.
Is Corey Coleman. His best friend's Corey Coleman.
Kaiser can get it out there. It just ends up in the other team's hands.
Yeah. So that's not what you want.
And the guy has no room to develop because every time he throws it to the other guy, he gets benched. Yeah. I mean, that has got to be the worst system to develop a quarterback. Especially as a rookie. Oh, you threw an interception? You're not playing this game. Wait till next one.
Jake, did you own Gordon in 2013 by chance?
No, I actually didn't.
I'm telling you, this is an affliction that hits people that had Josh Gordon in 2013. If you had him, you're addicted.
You feel it in your soul.
Yeah. It's like the drugs and
chemicals.
All right,
we got to move on from Browns players, I think, man. Let's help the people with the real stuff.
Yeah, it's the same people that own Dwayne Bowe.
Like, right.
I saw him at a nightclub once.
Jake, I know our time is getting limited with you, but I have one more question before we let you go. Another big news item this week is that Jimmy Garoppolo is making a start. People are chanting his name in San Francisco like he is the second Joe Montana. But let's bring it down to earth. What do you really think of what Jimmy Garoppolo will do, and at least for this week?
For this week, I find it tough to roll him out there. Like you said, the cheering his name. First of all, the fans are schmucks to cheer for the fact when C.J. Beathard got hurt. Like, come on. Like,
right.
At least wait for him to get off the field before you start cheering for Garoppolo. Like,
that's decency.
Yeah, you could at least cheer for Garoppolo, or don't boo and then cheer and then let the guys get hurt. I mean, stop. Leave the guy alone. But you look at it. I like Garoppolo. I think he has potential. I'm not fond of the move because I think he's still unknown quantity, similar to a lot of the rookie quarterbacks coming out, and I don't like the investment they paid to get him. But they like him for all those reasons. But it's at Chicago. Chicago's Bears defense has been really good this year, and people aren't giving that credit. Still, at Week 13, people still don't want to give them the credit for how good the defense has been, especially at home. And if you look at Garoppolo, what weapons does he have? He has Carlos Hyde, and then he has boomer bust play Marquise Goodwin, and a bunch of other dudes. Like, he just doesn't have a lot to go to here. So I think that you have some optimism if you are a Goodwin owner, or especially Hyde, which people have also not noticed that 2 of the last 3 games, this guy has been seeing a ton of targets out of the backfield. Actually, I like him a little bit in DFS this week that people aren't paying attention to that. But again, in Chicago, I'm not trying to start Jimmy Garoppolo. I got to tell you, I would definitely start him over Deshaun Kaiser, though.
Well,
I'm starting Hundley over both of these guys.
I would too.
Well, here you go, Jake. Here's the last question: Garoppolo or Trubisky this week? Who are you starting?
Flip the coin and pick up the gun and pull the trigger.
Oh man!
Oh, ouch!
It's a nightmare.
Ouch! Yikes! Wow! What a statement.
Well, it is. You're
Steely,
like playing Russian roulette with 5 bullets.
I hear you.
Steely, I actually got one for you before you go.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
the sleepers want to know. The sleepers want to know. It's the playoffs are upon us. Give us a good strategy that you like to employ heading into the playoffs.
Well, if you haven't done so already, I'll give you. I wrote about it 2 weeks ago. It's my Greg Jennings rule, and I like the guy. I like Greg Jennings. So for that being said, I said it's like Greg Jennings rules of when he went to the Vikings. At that point, when he went to the Vikings, it was 6 points a game, 7 points a game. The dude just sat on your bench all year, and he never entered your lineup. So that's why it's the Greg Jennings rules. Ask yourself, look at your bench right now. You need your handcuffs. You need a backup quarterback. You need a backup tight end, because the worst thing you could do is get to week 15, lose your quarterback, and now you're on the waiver wire looking at Deshaun Kaiser and Mitchell Trubisky and Geno Smith. So
real life
you
stuff.
need to build up that bench. And when people are like, well, then who do I drop? Ask yourself the question, is the guy ever going to be in my lineup? If the answer is no, that's who. Yeah, Greg James. Drop him. And I mean, even drop him for upside stashes, even if it's Austin Eckler's floating out in your league and there's somebody you're never going to start.
Travaris Gadet.
Yeah, anybody on the waiver wire that could turn into an RB2 or wide receiver 2 or, a starting quarterback, go ahead and drop those people off your team.
Awesome. Yeah, we've been telling people the same, and definitely we got Jake Ciely on. He's saying the same stuff. Gotta listen. This guy's top 5, top what are you? Top 1, sorry, top 1, top 2. I think you're hovering in the teens though this year. Ciely.
Yeah,
what's going on?
I've slid back. I'm actually 20th this year, top 20 only this year. It's I gotta build up my recruiting base. I had a bad class this year. That's what happened.
Well, Jake, it's been a real pleasure having you on. Please tell everybody out there where they can find you and support you.
Yeah, at AllInKid on Twitter, of course, and then rotoexperts.com is where all the articles and the rankings are, and then the radio show that we have, 4 to 6 p.m. every Monday through Friday on the Fantasy Sports Radio Network on Target, the award-winning On Target.
Well, there you go. So you guys go check them out and then come right to us, because we're all having a good time this season, having fun, giving you guys all the fantasy information you need. Jake, again, thank you so much for joining us, man. We'll see you next time, huh?
Anytime. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, that was Jake Ciely, man. That was a fun time to have him on. I hope you guys got a lot of information there, because the first 45 minutes of this show, there was nothing.
It's been rough. We had the intervention.
It's been entertaining.
It helped people that needed to vent, about Kareem Hunt. And it helped you. It helped you especially.
Right. I mean, I told you guys, it's a Nick Summerall help show with Hus and Mike. I think, listen, if you're feeling stressed about Week 13, here's advice, guys. Is you tune in with us, you ask us questions. You can go to sleeperwire.com, send us emails about what questions you may have. We also have our own Twitters. You can reach out to me at SleeperWireNick. Where can they find you, Hus?
Find me at Who's the Prophet on Fantasy Life. You can find me on Prophet Hus, a Sleeperbot, and I am Sleeperwire Hus on Twitter.
The Twitter. You can find him on the Twatter. And Mike, where can they find you?
Oh, you can find me at Dirty Jobs on Instagram, at Dirty Jobs on Sleeperbot, and at Dr. Kane on Twitter.
Oh yeah, I forgot my who's the Prophet on the Instagram.
Yeah, you can check out all of his pictures on
all
Instagram.
All five of them.
And don't forget, too, guys, you can also reach out to me on Sleeperbot at SWNick. And please, guys, go to the website, not only for some great stats, reaching out to us for questions, previous episodes. If there's one previous episode I'm asking everybody to go listen to this year, it's the interview I had with Rob's dad and Judith Weig from the Lyme Disease United Coalition. Please, guys, go listen to that episode. Tells you all about Rob's story, why we tell you to go to his GoFundMe page, which is gofundme.com/RobJR. Why we tell you guys to go help him out, his story, and about Lyme disease as a whole, and what the issues are that are going on with it, and how you guys can help to support that and to help Rob get the treatments he needs. So
guys, if you just want to write us a big fat check to Sleeperwire instead, we are a nonprofit organization. So either way, it's going to get to Rob. That's all we do this show for, literally. So we just are trying to help this guy. Go into your wallet. It's the Christmas season. It's time of giving. So definitely give a couple dollars.
Yes, please do so. And again, all the information you need, it's at one spot, sleepwire.com. Well, guys, this was fun. And also, we'll see next week where we're all at. Maybe we're all excited to be in the playoffs or pissed that we lost by one game.
We'll see.
Because I had co-hosts who didn't know how to help me. So either you're going to get good mood, Nick, or you're going to get pissed off.
Oh,
Nick.
man.
Oh, man.
I think I'm going to come down with a sudden sickness. If
yeah, maybe call out if I'm not in. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining me. Had fun?
Absolutely. It was a great time. Always is.
Always.
All right. Well, until next time, for Hus and Mike, I'm Nick Summerall saying so long, everybody. Good night.
The champions from the Sleeper Wire Fantasy Football Show will help you win your fantasy football championship. Sleeper Wire, Friday, 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Sleeper Wire on Dash Talk.